Good morning, everyone. I'm just unmuting some of the students. Anushka Jain.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Divyam. Richa. One is already unmuted. Divyam, can you unmute yourself? I'm unable to unmute you. Ji. So let's begin to. Am I audible to you all?
Ma'am,
Yes.
your voice isn't clear.
Just wait a moment. Is it clear now? Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So start with NumPy, and as already NumPy is done by you in the class 11, so I've just thought of taking a quick revision because all of the functions are so much associated with pandas. So if we are not clear with NumPy, we cannot move to the pandas. That's why I have to intentionally take this topic before so that at least we can just quickly refresh whatever you have learned into the class 11. So working with NumPy is there. So at Python includes two main modules. One is your pandas library and one is your NumPy library. Now both the libraries are very important in Python if you're going to work with it. See, if those who are making even the projects like calculators, they will be requiring the calculations, and for calculations, the NumPy is the best file to be used. So necessarily you have to go with the NumPy functions if you are going for any project. So first of all, what is this NumPy? So NumPy stands for your numerical Python. It stands for your numerical Python. That means whatever the functions you want to do in the numericals in computer language, you have to do in Python. If you want to do it, you have to do it using NumPy. So that's why it has been named as numerical Python. Now see, in NumPy, all the functions starts with NumPy array and ends with NumPy array only. NumPy is maximum focused on its array. So now array can be 1D, array can be 2D. 1D is very clear to you, I guess, that if it is having only one row, it will be considered as 1D. If it is having one row and one column, it will be considered as 2D. 2D. And if there are so many planes which are having rows and columns together, it will be considered as your multi-dimensional. Now going on to this, that how do we install NumPy? We know what is NumPy, but how are we going to install this NumPy? So what are we going to do? I'll show you just a demonstration on my system only. So what you have to do is you have to type first of all in the search box as your command prompt. So now see, you can see the command prompt on the screen. Now it has C users and Rajesh. Now I should know that where I have installed my Python. So yesterday only I have downloaded my Python and I know very well that my Python is in C drive in program files. Just yeah, this is Python over here. Python 3.7.2. So what can I do? I can just copy this path from here and I can enter into the same path, because when I need to install NumPy, the path should be correct and the file should be correct. Where do you want to install it? It should not be like कि NumPy files हमने कहीं भी install किया हुआ है and your Python folder is somewhere else. Because when you save your files and you'll ask for NumPy, it will definitely go to the Python folder and you will look for that module. But if it is not there, how will you do it? So what I have to do is I have to first go to that particular path. Now see, I'm typing a cd dot dot, which will say your change directory. You can do it in the this way, or you can directly write like this cd and then you can paste your place, which is C program files Python 3.7.2. You can see over here C program files Python 3.7.2. So as I press enter, you can see that the path has been changed. Now the command prompt is saying your C program files Python 3.7.2. So now it is inside the Python folder. Now you can do all the modules running command, you can follow up by here. So what we are going to do now, we have to install what? NumPy. And what is the command given for installing the NumPy? Is pip install NumPy. In the similar way, you have to afterwards, you will be installing pandas and connectors, and also you should be very much clear that how we have to go step by step. It should not be like without changing path, you are doing everything. Everything will get into a failure then. So now what I am going to do is I am going to run my command over here, pip install and NumPy. As I'll press enter, you will see that the process will start over here. Now maybe already as I have a NumPy, the process might not start, but this is the command which you will be using for installing your NumPy. So see, it is written over here, requirement already satisfied, because just few days before or yesterday only I can say that I have installed the NumPy. That's why it is showing like this. Now one more thing you have to keep in mind is that why you write pip install NumPy, what does it take? It takes from the server all the modules available for the NumPy. So now for doing this, you should know that the internet connection is there or not. If your internet connection is missing, then you cannot, if your internet connection is missing, then you cannot join this, you cannot download this. Is still my voice is breaking?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So what you are going to do, just pip install NumPy, and then you will see if the NumPy was not installed there, it will download it from the internet and all the modules will run like this. If it is already installed, then it will show you like requirement already satisfied. Now see, you have run the command over here. Everything has come and it has been written over here that successfully installed. But how will you check it? So for checking it, what you have to do, you have to go to your IDLE Python 3.7.2. Now see why I installed only Python 3.7.2. There are many upgraded versions also available. But I installed this because our lab supports this only. So now what I'm going to do for checking it, I'm going to write the statement as import numpy. Now as np. Now import numpy was sufficient. But why I'm writing import numpy as np? NumPy, see, 5 letters again and again I have to type it. Instead of NumPy, I can rename it as we do it in select statement using AS. In the same way, we can do it over here also. So I will just use AS as a keyword and I'll just write NP. So instead of now NumPy, I can everywhere use NP. As I press enter, you can see the next line has been blinked. If the NumPy would not be there, it will definitely show you an error saying that import that module, or they cannot found that module. That indicates this triple arrow in the next line clearly indicates us that your NumPy has been successfully installed. So I think it should be very clear to you that how are you going to install your NumPy. Again, I'll repeat it one more time. Those who cannot listen it properly, that anyways it will be recorded in the lecture. If you want, you can get a recorded lecture also. So what you are going to do first, you are going to change the path. So I have changed the path. My Python folder was, I installed my Python folder into the C program file. So I've changed the path using the cd command. If you want to exit the previous directory, you can use cd dot dot, or you can directly write as cd enter change directory and put this directory. After entering into the directory, you will be installing your NumPy. Now this is not only for NumPy. Whenever you are going to run any file also, if you are doing it through command prompt, you have to be first into your file folder. So you have to go using cd command. After going into that, you can see the path has been changed to like this. Now you can install your NumPy and the process will go, and it will take few seconds only. The process will be covered and it will show you some messages like this, that it is installed properly. Or if it is already there, then it will be say that like it is saying to me that requirement already satisfied. And then you can go to your IDLE editor and you can just look into this, that whether the NumPy has been installed properly or not. The same thing you are going to do for MySQL connector, for pandas, for everything. So sometimes you install it but on the wrong position, wrong place, and then you are unable to find it where you installed because you have not changed the directory. In that case, if you write import statement, it will see into Python 3.7.2 folder only. But if your NumPy module is missing from there, it will show you an error even after downloading. So clear how we are going to install our NumPy. So moving forward, after the NumPy, now after installing NumPy, NumPy only works on arrays. It works on many more things, but for now, your curriculum, we are going to discuss the arrays. So in that case, arrays, what actually array is? Array is a combination of your rows and columns, as you must be aware. Now there are some terminologies which are being used in NumPy array. So going on to the terminology, the first terminology we have is a rank, which says that how many axes do you have? See, for this one, only one axis is there, that is row. So its rank is considered to be as 1. For this particular field, here is rows, horizontal is rows, and then this is your column. So we have 2 will be the rank because 2 axes are there. One axis is this and another axis is your this. For 3-dimensional array, now see, for 3-dimensional, it can be a Z. So what you are, and for multi-dimensional, it can be many planes. So see, 1 row and column, then 1 plane, 2 plane, 3 plane, and then 4 planes. So in this we have 4 planes. So what will be the dimensions for this will be? It will be a 3-dimensional. Since it is having a Z axis also, so rank will be over 3. In the similar way, we have shapes. So in shape, what does it say? It defines, it actually says your length of the array in each dimension. How is the length of the array? So suppose if we talk about the rank 1, that means that particular picture which was having only 1 row. You can see the picture over here. So in that rank 1 array, there are 5 elements were there. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 elements were there. So it was considered, its shape will be tuple 5. Tuple is not necessary to write, but it will be 5 comma dash. Now comma dash says that there can be n number of columns can be there, but for now only 5 rows are there, and by default only no columns are there. So how many rows are there? Only 5. So it has been written over here as 5. For this row, for the rank 2, you can see that we have 3 rows, 1, 2, and 3. And how many columns do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the rank will be 3, comma 5. Now see, if you will be thinking that in rank 1 also we have columns 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is one row. But since this is 1D only, one dimensional only, you cannot consider here as a column. So it will be only 5 here. And for the rank 2, it will be 3, comma 5. Now, if you talk about rank 3, now see there are 4 planes also. So you have to include that also into the shape. So the shape will be 4 planes. Whatever the planes are there, you have to write it first. So there are 4 planes and then 3 rows and 5 columns. So in this way, you will be defining the shape. The next anatomy we have is our size. That what is the size of that particular array. So size is generally considered as number of the elements present into the array. So in the first row, we were having 5 elements. In the second array, it was a combination of 3 rows and 5 columns. So ultimately 3 rows and 5 columns is 3 into 5, that is 15. So there should be total 15 elements. We can do a multiplication of row and column and can find out the complete elements from that. Or else you can count and also write, that is also fine with me. So that is like how you'll calculate the shape. 3 by 5 is there. So 3 multiplied by 5, the total size we have is 15. So what will be the size? There are 50 elements, 15 elements in total. Now rank 3, it says there were 4 planes. So after having 15 elements, 15 elements are there in each plane. So 15 will be multiplied by 4, that will become a 60. So total size will be 60 for that particular array. Going on to the data types, now there are so many data types available which you can see in your textbook. Once you can go through your textbook, there are so many data types are given, and along with data types, what is the particular size with it is also given. Now see, this is also important to learn the size, because sometimes what they do, they give you in the exam, they give you an array and they ask you that what will be the data type for this, and if they give you the data type, they ask you that what will be the item size for it. So item size, which is our next anatomy, it completely depends on whatever the data type is there. See, if the data type of a particular array is integer kind of integer 32, then its item size will be 4 bytes. If it is integer 64, then its item size will be 8 bytes. So if you are not knowing the item size, and if they ask you for the item size, it will be difficult for you to answer. So in that case, you must know at least the important ones, like float is there, integer 32 is there, integer 64 is there. The complete table is given in your textbook. You can go through them once. Now we'll see how this example works. Now see, in exam, this kind of question comes, they'll give you an array and they'll give you this also, and they'll ask you in 1 mark or 2 mark that what will be the output for this. Now see, if you go to the shape, the shape clearly says that how many rows and columns are there. It is one dimensional, it is two dimensional, it is multi-dimensional. So see, for A1 dot shape, so A1 has, this is a way, first of all, this is a way how you can define a one-dimensional array. So what you do in defining a one-dimensional array, see, list is also one-dimensional array, but it is list. We have to convert it to array, because NumPy's all function works on array, all mathematical operations works on array. So in that case, you have to always convert your list, your tuple, your string, your dictionaries, all the values into the array to operate into the NumPy. So now how do we convert this list into an array? Since it is one dimensional, what we can do is we can use the syntax as np.array, and then you can clearly write this 1, 2, 3, 4 inside this parenthesis. I can show you once again ideally that if you want to do that, suppose I have A1, which is a kind of list. I'm including it into the square bracket, which denotes that it is a list. Suppose I have a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, and which is named as A1. I want to apply some functions over it. So what, and see, as you press and enter, triple arrows come over here, which says that your statement written is correct. Now, if I want to apply that 1, 2, 3, 4 should be converted to array. So what can I do is, suppose I take A2, and the A2 should be NP dot. Why I'm using NP? Because I already defined NP as there. Now I'll just write array, and array are always into the small parenthesis. Now what array I have is A1. What array I wanted to convert into A1, I wanted to convert into the array. See, I already defined A1 as this. If you do not do like this, the other option which is given in your book is like you can directly define the list over here, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. Or if you'll do like this, that is also fine. Or I will do it like I will directly write A1, because I have already given A1 as list. Now as I'll press enter, now np.array has been converted. Let's see by printing it that how does it come. So now whenever you print, it should be in a small parenthesis. And as I'll write A2, after pressing an enter, you can see my array has been converted. How you can differentiate now this an array and list? दोनों एक जैसे दिख रहे, but how can you differentiate it actually? You can see that in the list it was comma operated, and when you make it as an array, it is 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is how we are going to convert it into the array. Now suppose if we talk about the 2D array, 2D array has one row and one column. So let's take one example for 2D array as well. Now we are since on the ideally. So suppose we have an array. We have okay. We have two lists. Nested list we have. So we are converting a nested list is at 1, 2, 3, and another list we have is 2, 3, 4. Now see why I'm saying it as a nested list, because it is inside one bigger square bracket, two small brackets are there. Now see, when you convert this nested list, you can see that there are two lists are there. So how they will be converted into the array? Just a minute. Okay, there is some error. List indices must be integers or slices, not tuples. Okay. What can I
You
do?
forgot
Hello?
you forgot the comma between the two lists.
Yeah. So, yes. So these are two elements. I forgot to mention a comma over here because one element is this, another element is this. So now if two elements are there, if you want to convert this into the array, you can similarly write your np.array and this will be converted. So what I can mention directly over here is that np.array, and what do we have in the array is A3. So you can see that array over here. Now this two rows has come, two rows are there. So now this is one row, then this is another row, which is having three columns in this. So this is the way how you can create your 2D array. Now going on to its D type, it will, as you'll write D type, it will show its data type. As you'll write it item size, it completely depends on your data type because its integer 32 is there, so its item size will be 4. Then A2 dot size. Now size clearly says over here that how many elements are over there, so it will be your 6. Now why do you need to use NumPy? Because it is much faster than the list. Then also it has some arrays and functions, mathematical functions, which Python list doesn't support. It is very good at using vectorized operations. Like I've shown you an example that if you do something on the list, like if I have a list like this, if I have a list 3, 4, 5, and if I wanted to add something in 3, 4, 5, so I've written a list 1 plus 2, then it clearly shows me an error that it cannot concatenate the list because it feels like plus is used for concatenating, so it is like you have to concatenate 2. But see, if you are using this in array, it will definitely add 2 to all the elements. So suppose we have an array 1 comma 2 comma 3. So now array we have already converted, and if I want to add something to the array, so if I can write a1 plus 2, it will add 2 to the each element, which was not so happening in your this array. In list, sorry. So in list, if you want to add anything, any element, you cannot add a single element to all the elements present in the list, whereas in array you can do so. So if I'll write a1 plus 2, it will not show me an error. It is completely correct that if I'll write plus 2 over here, it will add to the array. Array was having a value 1, 2, 3, and as 2 is added to it, it will become 2 plus 1, 3, 2 plus 2, 4, and 3 plus 2, it will be 5. So our new array will be 3, 4, 5. Commas are there, so isn't it? Ma'am, but here commas are there, so it isn't is an array. Where are the commas? See, when I converted into the array, no commas are there. Similarly, you can go to the IDL, and when I convert, this is I'm printing here. Oh, okay, you're talking about this. This is array only. But see, I was printing here A2 array. The name itself has been written over array. If I'll print only array A3, then it will not show me like this. The commas will not be shown. And since it is 2D, you have to differentiate the rows and columns. Okay. So now we have different ways of creating the arrays. So one way is we can create it using arrays, as I already informed you into this. How we are using arrays, it's like the function is being used here as np.array. Similarly, we can create it using parameters. Now see, when we create it using arrays, array can only you can only pass list and tuples into it. Means only numerical values can be scanned using arrays. But if you want to pass dictionary and strings, it creates a problem for the array, because array for dictionary you can see that the key values and the pairs are associated with it, so it becomes very confusing for array which value to take, and it's like so many comma separated values are there, so each array for array it becomes very difficult to take it. So for overcoming this, we are having one more keyword, which is parameters, in which you can pass your dictionary as well as strings. So moving on to both of them first, so using arrays, the syntax is numpy.array, and you can just mention your list, so it will be converted. Now using parameters, so what we are going to do in parameters, you can see if we have a dictionary addict, 1 is to A, 2 is to B, 3 is to C, and 4 is to D. So what can you do over here? Now see, you cannot pass it into the array, so we are using parameter over here. So the keyword is your parameter, F-R-O-M-I-T-E-R. While writing it, you should be very much clear if I write suppose np dot formatter, and suppose if I'm right like this, it will show you an error. See, and NumPy has no attribute formatter because its spelling is frometer. So do not ever mistake with the keywords spelling. So it is frometer, np.frometer. What you are going to do, its syntax says you will be passing your array or dictionary, whatever you have. So we have dictionary addict over here. Now why we are already defining it over here, we can write it over here also, but then it will become so clumsy. कि dictionary भी इधर ही लिखा है, data type भी इधर ही लिखा है, in which we have to convert, then frometer keyword is also there. So to make it very clear, what we can do is we can define first what is the dictionary, we can give it a name, then we can use that name into this parameter that this particular dictionary we want to convert. And also for parameter, the data type you have to be written is must. Why it is must? Because it is a target data type कि आपको जो भी आप dictionary की values ले रहे हो, in which particular type do you want to convert it. It is not so by using arrays, but for parameter it is definitely you have to use it like this, that you have to mention the data type over here. So now see, we have already converted. Let's see what happens when we go for 0 and 3. And I'm just guessing it that you must be knowing that arrays indexing always starts from 0. It is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So now see, if I start for 0, that means it should be a 1. So let's see the output. Output is also 1. If I go for 3, that means 0, 1, 2, and 3. So at third position, the indexing should be 4. The output written over here is 4. It's wrong. It should be 4 because we are talking about the indexing 3. So indexing 3 should be a 4. Now, if we want to print your complete array, whatever has parameter converted in AR1, let's see what it is the output will be there. So it will be a, as you'll print AR1, it will be a 1, 2, 3, 4. The complete index. Now see, by using dictionary only, keys become your array. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if you want to go for string, how we are going to do it? We are going to do it the same way, the same syntax will be used. Now, one more additional thing is there that we forgot to discuss is that we have one count also in the syntax, which says number of elements to be read. Now, see, it is optional. Do you want to keep it or not? So, I've given you an example in which it is there. So, now we have a string which says this is going to be fun. I wanted to convert it into data type U2, which is set as a Unicode character. We can convert it to any other data type, but it should be kind of string only. Now I want that the count should be only till 11. It should not go more than this. So now its indexing starts from 0. So let's see 11th character, which will be the 11th character. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So your B is the last character. So if I'll say 11, count 11, the 11 characters will be counted and will be printed. See, this has been converted into an array. So this string has been broken into each individual element. So this is how we are going to use parameter. Any doubts till now? Anybody? Am I audible to you all? Yes, no. Okay. Creating, and now the third point is creating ND array using arrange. Now see, in arrange again, usually arrange English spelling says ARRANGE, but which is not so in your Python language. It is ARANGE. So while using this, make sure that you are typing the correct statement. Now what does arrange function do? It is similar to the range which you would have learned into the 11th class, which will be used with list. Whereas, but this range function returns your list, and हमको चाहिए array. That's why you are using your arrange function. So now arrange function syntax says that numpy dot arrange, and it has few things inside it, which is a start, stop, step, and its data type. Now start and stop, what does it say? From where do you want to start it? Where do you want to stop it? And step says that how much step should it be taken. If it is like, if the example we have for arrange is 1, 2, 3, 4, step is 1, 1, 1. That means you have to climb each single step. So after 1, 2 will be there. After 2, 3 will be there. If the steps are given 2, then it will be after 1, 3 will be there. After 3, 5 will be there. So in this way, See, if your meeting ends, you can rejoin it because only 9 minutes are left for the meeting. So now start, stop is a starting value and stopping value, and these are optional, and by default step is taken as 1. If you do not give any start and stop, by default it will take from the 0, and by default it will go till the end of the dimension. And step, you agar aapne step ko nahi diya, that will by default take as 1. Now see, we have an example over here, np.arrange 7. Now see, if 7 is written over here, that means it will start from 0 and it will left your last indexing. If not only 7 is given, that means you have to start it from 0 and your end index will be your 6, 1 below the last index. So as I'll print array 3, its output will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is for 1D. But if you're going for 2D, what you can do, you can, or not 2D, but if you're going to go for any of the 1D array, what you can do is you can specify the start, stop. Like it should start from 1, it should stop till 7, before 7 it should stop, sorry, and the steps to be 2. And also the targeted output should come into the plot. So as I'll print this, you can see 1 dot. Dot here is written because it is a float value. Then 3 point and then 5 point. Every little value is having a 2 steps difference because the 2 steps was given over here. In a similar way, you can use numerical range using line space. Now here also line space, it has been pronunciation is like that, but L-I-N-E-E is not there. It is L-I-N-S-P-A-C-E, line space. So now this you use generally when you want to find out if there is a given limit and you find out the number of elements between that particular two limit and it should be equally spaced. In that case, you use usually this line space. So its function, its syntax is like numpy dot line space start, stop, number of values to be generated. You have to specify that. See, there's a little bit of difference only. Here you specify the step. Here you specify the number of values to be generated between them. So example we have is np.line space 2.5 comma 5 comma 6 print a1. So as it will print a1, you can see how many values do you want. It should be between 2.5 to 5 and the value should be 6. The number of value to be generated should be 6. So they have generated 6 values over this. 2.5 से लेके 5 के बीच में they have equally divided all the values and the 6 values they have generated. This is what your line space function does. Now till now we were discussing about the creating of the 1D array. So 1D array we were creating using the arrays function, then we were creating it using parameter, then we were using it arrange and then line spaces. So the 4 ways we have created. In the similar way, 2D arrays are created using arrays in the same way as we have already discussed and using arrange. Okay. So now using arrange, I'm not discussing this 2D array because we have already discussed it. So going on to directly arrange. So what does it say using arrange? Arrange is usually used for 1D arrays, but if you are going to use it with 2D arrays, then you have to use this reshape function also with it. So see, if you write np.arrange 10, what it generally gives an output to us is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10 ko chhod ke, it gives us 10 values starting from the 0. Now see, we are dealing with the 2D, two operators. Okay, since we are dealing with the two operators, what we can do is, just a minute, no, I'll just explain it to you. So if we are dealing it with 2D, we have to convert the single row into the row and column functions. In that case, what we can do is we can use dot reshape function. Reshape says that how do you want to shape it? Do you want it in 1D? Do you want it into the 2D? And if you want it into the 2D, how do you want row and column to be? To reshape, the rows will be 5 and column will be 2. As I'll given, you can see the output that we have rows is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And the column we should be having 2, 1 and 2. So this is how we are reshaping it. In the similar way, if you want, no, I want 2 rows and 5 columns, you can do it in the similar way. But make sure that whatever you do, the number of elements should be compatible with it. Suppose if I go that 3, 5 I want, so 3, 5 will be having 15 elements, but I have only 10 elements. So I cannot reshape into that. Now, since somebody Arna has a doubt in line space, we'll go again back to the line space. In line space, what do we have as a syntax is start, stop, and the numbers of value to be generated. You have to give what we do generally in line space is that कि आपको कहाँ से स्टार्ट करना है वो आपको बताना है, कहाँ स्टॉप करना है वो आपको बताना है, एंड बिटवीन योर स्टार्ट एंड स्टॉप हाउ मेनी वैल्यूज डू यू वांट, कितने इक्वली स्पेस्ड वैल्यूज आपको चाहिए, यू हैव टू स्पेसिफाई दैट इन द नंबर ऑफ वैल्यूज टू बी जनरेटेड. So the syntax is clearly saying that instead of parameter or arrays, we'll be using line space. So example is over here np.linespace. Now it should start from 2.5 and it should go till 5 and its value should be divided into 6 parts. Now see, it is 6 values. Since the output is like arranged into this way, it is a document form. I have copied it from my IDLE to here. So you are filling it like these are 3. These are not 3 beta. It's 2.5, 3 point, 3.5, 4 point, 4.5 and 5 point. There are 6 values. Do not get confused with this. This is a Microsoft Word. And since I arrange everything, that's why वो अगर आपकी टेबल छोटी हो गई है तो it is like visible like this. But it's not like that. It is 6 values: 2.5, 3 point, 3.5, 4 point, 4.5 and 5 point. I think it must be clear now because the doubt was like it was only 3. It is not 3. It is 6 values here. Okay, so using arrange, whenever you use arrange and 2D, you would have to use it always with reshape. And you can specify clearly the dimensions into it, that whether do you want it to 5,2 or 2,5. And also Archit and Arnav, do not make your comments private. If it would be visible to everyone, it would be better because they will also understand what is the question and might be they will also get some doubts then. Okay, now some alternative methods are there for creating the arrays. You can use empty. Now empty says that it will not, and your array will not be filled with 0 but with the garbage values. It will be randomly initialized with the garbage values. There is one more function which says zeros. If you use zeros over here, then you'll get 0, 0, 0 in the specified dimensions. If you'll say ones, you will get 1, 1, 1 in the specified dimension. Now one more thing, there are 1 mark or 2 mark questions come using this only कि आपको कोई array create करना है which is having, like suppose I take an example of I, which says that create a 5 cross 5 array which should be having 0 all over the place, but at the diagonal it should be 1 and identity matrix. So in that case, what will the function used for it? So you can directly write np.i5. So go through the some of the functions which are already written in the documents which I'll be sharing with you. Go through them. You should be knowing clearly what is the syntax for them and what it does. Now working with the NumPy arrays. I'll be covering half of the topic only. I'll be covering the rest of the topic, but since the time is only left 2 minutes, you have to rejoin the meeting again using the URL or the given URL which I have forwarded to you yesterday. Now working with the NumPy functions, NumPy arrays. Now since we have discussed how to create 1D array and 2D array, I'm again repeating how we have created 1D array. We have created it using array function, parameter function, line space was there, and one more was there. What was the next? Another one? Arrange was there. So using this for we have created 1D, and for creating 2D arrays we have used arrays and arrange. Along with the arrange, we are going to use always reshape. Now we will be working on the arrays. Now there are so many functions are there. Working with NumPy arrays includes so many things. Also with NumPy there I am going to discuss some of the questions with you might be on the Tuesday. So in that questions you have to, that are your journal questions. Now since you do not have a journal, we'll be solving that questions over here and then you will be writing it into the your notebooks, IP notebook, and as and when you get journals, you can then directly copy it over there. So working with the NumPy arrays, first is your indexing. It's a start from always 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it also has a negative indexing which starts from -3, -2, -1. Sorry, it has been written wrong over here. It should be it starts from -1, then it is having -2, and then -3, and then -4. Negative indexing never starts with 0, it always starts with -1, while positive indexing starts with your 0. If you are accessing 2D arrays, then it will be like column will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and rows will be 0, 1. And if you go for negative indexing, it will start from background. It will be -1, -2, -3, -4. And from here it will be -1, -2. So this is how your array indexing works in 1D and 2D.